To go. Run him. Stay on him. That him, boy. Angela, that's a sack on the ball. Good job. Yo, Rick.
Take me back into another time when we were still in love, a different life. It's a different life. Welcome, everybody, to the Brothers Blitz podcast. All right, we are back with our NFC predictions for the NFL season.
And in case anybody's wondering if you've listened to the AFC, I have taken 87 shots since what Jordan said.
So if you haven't listened to the AFC predictions, please do that. And if you want to send me any words of encouragement, I could use them. That would be
words, letters.
Would be very kind of you.
Get well cards, whatever.
Yeah. So this one's going to be pretty straightforward. We're just going to go through our NFC predictions. We're going to go by division, what their records are, and then we're going to go all the way through the playoffs and the Super Bowl, and then and then on this one, you actually get to hear our Super Bowl winner.
Yes, because now that we've been through both conferences.
Yeah, because we'll be through both. So this is a big time podcast, folks. Here, if you're curious about how the year's gonna turn out, maybe don't listen to us, but we're at least trying. We're trying.
We're trying, and unlike the professionals, we're wrong, and they never are.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, the professionals are never wrong. Yeah. So here's where do we want to start here?
I guess let's be consistent here.
Just start with the NFC East. Yeah, we did the East last time as a start, so we will start. And I said this on the last episode as a primer, and I just want to reiterate that I did have to go back and re-pick my NFC East because my winning team had a 7-10 record, and I'm like, well, they're not going to be that bad. That's too ridiculous.
Okay, so I also had to backtrack on the NFC East because at one point I had the Eagles at 9-0, and I was like, well, that's not going to happen. That was the second time I had done that because I also had the Texans at the AFC at 9-0.
Yeah.
And again, I remembered that because they were both 9-0, and I was like, wait, something's wrong here.
It could happen. It could.
It could. I mean, obviously it could, but the likelihood, statistically, not going to happen.
All right. So, let's start with our NFC East. So who do you have at the bottom?
I don't believe in the Giants one little bit. Okay. I have them at 2-15.
Woo!
Sorry, Giants fans.
Well, to be fair,
sorry to one of my best friends, Brian, who's a big Giants fan. Sorry, man.
To be fair, you did tell us what the Giants were willing to give up just to get away from Daniel Jones. So
correct, like six draft picks.
So yeah, maybe not that insane. I had them also at the bottom at 4-13, so I was a little bit higher.
Yeah,
than you. Not insanely, but yeah, I have eaten out a couple more.
Still, but really terrible.
Yeah, it's a rough.
And once we get to that division, I have them and another team in a race for worst record in the NFC.
Makes sense. So I have a guess.
Actually, not only NFC but league.
Yeah. So Giants not. But the other team, who I'm assuming I'm correct on, was at the race for the bottom as well. So Giants, it's just not a lot. Now I guess, okay, let's go through if you want to think that the Giants may be like a mid-tier team. If you think that's going to happen, that means you're assuming their defense, because of the additions of like Brian Burns, their defensive line just takes over and helps them win some games and maybe get some turnovers. And Malik Neighbors is a freak of nature, and can make up for Daniel Jones being terrible. Do I think that's going to happen? No. I'm just saying.
And if you think all that, I'm going to look at you like this.
Yeah, I know. I'm just seeing how you're staring at me. But like, if you're a Giants hopeful, if you're a Giants fan, you're like, well, maybe. You're like, that's the best case scenario. Is like an 8-9. Your defensive line wins you games.
Right.
They get to a similar thing where they can just get Daniel Jones to not really lose them games.
Right.
But I don't see it happening.
Kind of like they did when they made the playoffs at 9-8 a couple years ago.
So I don't see it happening, which is why I have them at 4-13. You have them at 2-15. But I just at least wanted to throw it out there of just like, is there a scenario?
That's pretty disheartening in August of the season. You're like, best case scenario, we still lose more games than we win.
Yeah. And I think that is true, though. I think that is their best case scenario.
I agree with you. I agree.
All right. So third, I had the Commanders at 7-10.
I'm a little bit higher on them. I have them at 9-8.
But still third?
Still third. Okay. Yeah.
All right. Interesting.
If Jaden Daniels is as good as he's looked and as people are saying, it's very possible. They have beefed up their offensive line a little bit. I have several Commanders fans in my life who have actually pointed out to me, because I didn't know this at first, but they're like, we made more under the radar offensive line moves that are not flashy or sexy, but they're like solid moves.
Yeah, sure.
So along with Terry McLaurin, and they got enough of an offense in place now. If the offensive line is even just average compared to, Sam Howell running for his life every single play last year, I think they'll be all right. Their defense is still not great. I think, as I mentioned in the last episode, their defense gave up 35 touchdowns passing last season, which is insane.
Yeah.
I do think guaranteed 2 touchdown passes a game.
Yeah, I think they're going to be competent at 7-10.
They could be like a good, like Bill Simmons always says, the good bad team. Yeah,
I just don't have enough belief in Dan Quinn and Cliff Kingsbury. That's
fair.
I just couldn't quite get there. But I do think the roster improvements and stuff. I think Jaden Daniels. I think it's fair to be concerned about him, but the concerns are more about size and injury.
Mm.
So. I think So I think he's going to look promising. I think they're going to look good, but look. It wasn't even the coaching staff that the Commanders wanted. They wanted Ben Johnson. So it's just like I have trouble believing in them when they didn't believe in them.
So, like they did not believe in Eric Bieniemy at all.
That either. Yeah. Bieniemy, is he even is he coaching anywhere this year?
I have no idea.
That's a good question, isn't it?
Let's
go into our
let's move on from there, and then we'll.
So my second place team is the Eagles at 8-9.
Wow, I have them at 11-6,
and I think Sirianni's out. With that
prediction. I also agree with. I think they have so much elite talent. They'll kind of bullshit their way to 10 or 11 wins. They'll make the playoffs and then get blown out again, and then that will be the end of Sirianni. So I just think their high-end talent is good enough to get them there.
So here's my prediction.
I'm listening. I'm looking up Eric Bieniemy right now.
I was looking too. So here's what I'm thinking. This has too much. With what the Eagles have done in the offseason, it is way too much of the Dream Team Eagles.
Oh, man, I remember that team.
So it feels like that to me. And I'm kind of predicting that.
I can see that.
Oh, we've got it, guys. We're so good. We're so amazing. And then it turns out it's not actually coming together. And it's not like I have it being horrible. It's not like 8-9 is a terrible record.
Right.
It's bad for them.
Didn't that Dream Team Eagles finish like right at 500?
Yeah. They were like right there. So that's kind of my prediction, is that it's another one of those Eagles where they inflate themselves. They make themselves feel like they're so much better than. It's just that it's not coming together. I really do not believe in Sirianni.
I don't either.
I'm not sure that Kellen Moore is going to make a massive difference. And then, I normally believe in Nick and Fangio and Vic Fangio. I almost said Nick, but Vic Fangio. But I think it's kind of weird how it went down with the Dolphins with him too last year. Yeah. So I'm just not sure it's going to meld. It's like they do have talent.
I agree. I think so. I thought about this today. while I was exercising, and like the Eagles kept coming to my brain when after I made my picks or in the middle of making my picks, I was just like, again, I still think they somehow squeak their way to 10 or 11 wins.
It's possible.
But I also wouldn't be surprised at all if they go all the way back to 8 wins, because I think there is that much bad blood with Sirianni. And even I heard this thing too. Jason Kelsey has been talking about it on his podcast, where teams figured them out in the back half of last year, and Sirianni was either unable or unwilling to adjust, which lead to the bad blood and why everybody got so frustrated with him in the end. Yeah. And if that continues, then maybe they're even worse than an 8-9 team. But I think their talent is still too good.
Yeah,
but
it's hard with the talent. Yeah, like the high-end talent does bail you out of a lot of bad situations. We've seen it with the Steelers more than a few times. But if that bad blood is as bad as Kelsey is painting it, and everything is still the same as it was in the back half of last season, okay, then that's not an 11-win team. Yeah. So I'm predicting a bit of a drop off on it. They have trouble sustaining it. There's some arguments. Things just aren't working. 8-9. So do you have the Cowboys still winning the division though?
I do. They're at 12-5.
Okay. I had them at 10-7. I think.
Oh, okay.
And I could be. That's one I'm willing to be way wrong on, because they could come in with so much. Dak especially could come in with so much focus, and McCarthy too. Honestly, because of the way this offseason's going.
Yeah.
I'm predicting it's a little bit more of a strain than it actually is a help, which is why I have them losing 2 games more than what they lost last year.
So my thought on this is everything you just said is what everybody's been saying for the last 2 to 3 years, and they somehow still keep winning like 12 games during the regular season.
Yeah.
So I'm going with consistency here. I'm like, this is the same narrative that everybody has said for the last 2 to 3 years, and they somehow still win 12 games in the regular season. And I also learned today they have won 16 regular season games in a row at home.
Yeah.
Like, as far as I'm concerned, that's probably going to keep up. So even if they lose one of those, that's still 7 wins right there.
Yeah.
And you're telling me they can't go 5-4 on the road? Or if they go 8-0 at home, 4-5 on the road?
Yeah. I don't disagree. That's where I ended up. I had to go backwards because I was just like, they were winning it at 7-10. I think I also had the Eagles at 7-10. So the Eagles ended up bumping up.
The Cowboys were one I had to go back because I had them at I had them at 3 and I had them at like 3-6 at one point. It was like, hold on, that's not right.
No, the start to their schedule is not super easy. The
that's
Cowboys.
True. So, I think in a row they play San Francisco, Detroit, and somebody else. Hold on, we can pull that up real quick.
Oh, by the way, Eric Bieniemy is the offensive coordinator for UCLA. That's right. I forgot about that. But so he'll try and rebuild himself up there, I guess.
So in a row, they play the Steelers in Pittsburgh. They're at home for Detroit, at San Francisco 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah,
that's pretty tough.
That's tough. So they could have a rough start to the year, which is, I think, kind of where I was. So
yeah, their schedule gets a little bit easier.
Yep,
depending on how things shake out. I even have them splitting with Washington, though.
Yeah, I had them 5-1 in the division, so I actually had them beating up on the division pretty good.
Oh, okay.
I think I had them losing. I have them
Eagles 4-2. I had them splitting with everybody except the Giants.
That makes sense.
They split with Washington and Philly.
That seems very possible.
Which they usually do anyways.
Yeah. So
that's the NFC East.
Yeah, so now we're going to go to the North.
Oh, man. What a fun division this can be.
Vikings on the bottom?
Yes. This is where I have them and the Giants battling it out. I have Minnesota.
Okay, so it wasn't what I was thinking. Okay.
Oh, you think I had the Bears? Oh. Oh, no, I have the Vikings at 1-16.
What?
Yeah.
No way they're going to be that bad.
Their quarterback is Sam Darnold.
I don't care. Their infrastructure is way better. Like they have like.
Do you want to run through their first 5 weeks real quick?
Oh, it's just 5 weeks. I don't have them winning a bunch of games. I have them at 5 and 12.
Wait. Hold on. I have the first 8 weeks or 7 games. They're at the Giants, home for San Francisco, home for Houston, at Green Bay, home for the Jets, home for the Lions, Rams, and then the Colts, and then the Jaguars. Those are their first 9 games. Like, if they don't beat the Giants, I don't see them winning any of those other games. I just don't.
Man,
their schedule is freaking tough.
I know, but like, I think that they've got a good coaching staff. I think they've got enough other kind of weapons. I think their defense is going to be better. Having another year with Flores, it's tough. I mean, but I'm not seeing it.
I can see them maybe beating the Bears at home. I'll give you that.
1-16. I've got them at 5 and 12. I mean, it's not like I'm high on them. I'm just saying.
Wow, you have them winning 5 games? Yeah. I'm looking at their schedule and going, where? I have them beating the Cardinals. That's all I got.
You don't even have them beating the Giants?
No, I have the Giants.
You were just talking about that. Yeah. I mean, they're definitely going to have a shot against the Titans.
Maybe, but the Titans are one of those like coin flip teams who could somehow be a fringe playoff team. I will say with the Giants game is a coin flip game. I just chose the Giants because they're at home.
I have them splitting with the Packers.
I don't see that at all.
Division games sometimes, though. I have them 2 and 4 in the division. They got 2 of their wins in the division. They beat the Packers once, and I have them beating the Lions at home. Well, they're at their home, not at the Lions, because it's off their bye week, too. So
sure.
And division, sometimes weird things happen, man.
I mean, yeah, the division is weird. I just think they're that bad. Their defense isn't.
I don't think they're going to be that bad.
Their defense is awful.
I don't think they're going to be
that bad. They're awful. We'll see. All right. It's just like Sam Darnold's your quarterback.
Crazy.
I know you have Justin Jefferson, but Sam Darnold's your quarterback.
Who do you have at third?
I got the Bears at 8 and 9.
All right. My third is the Packers at 9 and 8.
Oh.
I think it's
okay.
I feel a little similar.
I have the Packers at 10 and 7.
It's a couple things. I feel a little bit similar with the Texans end, where it's like people are just so high on the Packers.
Yeah.
And that it's just assumed they're going to be way better. But not only that, the Bears are going to be much better than what they were, I think, last year. And the Lions are still going to be good, especially since they were able to keep Ben Johnson. I think that was massive for them.
Agreed.
So I just think, and they were 9 and 8 last year too, weren't they?
The Packers, yeah.
So I think that they're still solid, and I think people are just riding too high on them. And I think with the division being harder, they could look better and still end up with the same record.
That's fair. I have them at 11 and 6.
Okay,
so not too far off.
Okay, and so do you have them second?
Yeah, I have the Lions at 13 and 4.
Woo, buddy.
Yeah, I'm high on the Lions.
Okay. I mean, I ended up not with that, but I get it because it's just like the consistency that they've had. They're looking, it's nothing terrible happened.
They got that taste last year, and you could even argue they should have gone to the Super Bowl.
Sure.
They were that close. They blew a gigantic lead.
Yeah.
Against presumably, literally the best team in the NFC, and they were on the road and they blew that lead. They're going to come back real hard.
So I think they have I think in the season, I think they have a bit of a some letdown on it. I think with some of the energy and stuff. So I had them at 11 and 6.
Okay.
And I actually have the Bears winning at 12 and 5.
You have the Bears first?
I do. I'm feeling good. That's that Hard Knocks bump. You're watching Hard Knocks and you're just like, look how great this team is.
Between you and your AFC predictions, I don't know if I want to talk to you anymore.
I don't feel that bad about the Bears possibly winning. I feel a little crazy about them winning, but I feel if I'd flip-flop them in the Lions, I'd be like, yeah, that probably makes a little bit more sense.
So my thing with the Bears is like, we have now gone through this. This is the third time we're going through this crap in the last decade. First, it was Mitch Trubisky. Then it was Justin Fields. Now it's Caleb Williams. And it's the same thing like, oh, the Bears are going to be back. They're going to be really good. And then they just fall flat on their stupid face. And they become this mediocre thing. And then we're doing the same dance. It's like we're doing the same dance 3 years later, over and over and over again.
I agree, but I do think it's different. I think it's different this year because I think, one, they went 7-10 with Justin Fields, who I think is not really that great. I wish he was better, but I just don't think he's actually that good of a quarterback overall. He's very talented, very athletic, but as far as quarterbacking, I don't think he's great. And I think they still went 7-10, and then I think their defense got better, and I think they made a lot of additions to help out Caleb Williams, and I think Caleb Williams is going to be the real deal, even year one.
They did. I mean, drafting what's his name, Roma Dunze, or however you pronounce that.
That's how you say it.
And then with having DJ Moore, Cole Kmet's still there.
Yep.
I know.
They got Swift too, which is a pretty good.
They do. Yeah, they did. And I want to believe in them. I really, really do.
Well, I'm going to. You naysayer.
I know you are. But it's just like, because it feels so similar to the same thing. Because even when Fields came in, like when they got DJ Moore and still had David Montgomery, and then Devin Singletary too, was like, look, they got two running backs. They got a DJ Moore, Cole Kmet still there. Fields can pull this, and they're still bad. Never mind.
Well,
so until I see it on the field consistently, I'm sorry, I can't. You're gonna hover in that 7 to 10, 8, 9 range for me. You're just going to.
All right. We'll see how that shakes out for us then. So
they're not going 12-5. I'll tell you that. And if they are,
buddy. No, you'll see. You'll see.
If they go 12-5, I will buy a Caleb Williams jersey.
Let's go. You heard it. You heard it
right here.
You heard it.
Fox will buy a Caleb Williams jersey if, as a rookie, he goes 12-5.
So let's go to the South. Everybody's favorite division.
As everybody knows, I was spot on with the South last year. Freaking nailed it.
You did, though. Yeah, you did. I had the Panthers at 2-15.
I believe I have them the same.
Oh, okay, because that's the team I was assuming you were talking about competing for the bottom.
That's fair, and they're in there too. Oh man, I have them and the Saints at 2-15. I think they're gonna be so bad, both teams.
Oh no! I mean, I'm not high on the Saints. I have them at 4-13, but
yeah, like there were a couple of their games where I kind of went back and forth on that. I was just like, they were later season games where I was just like, I think they'll be in such a tailspin by that point that even these coin flip games, I'm like, no, they're gonna lose.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, I'm down on the Saints too. Obviously.
So Panthers, again, I think they actually made a pretty good coaching hire. I mean, obviously you never know, but I mean, he got the most out of the Bucs offense. He did a pretty good job over there because he was their offensive coordinator.
Yeah, he did.
So if this is really, it's like the only thing that makes me worried about making the Panthers so bad is that if Bryce Young was only so bad because of how bad the Panthers were as a team, and can the coaching lift them up to being more like a 5 or 6 win team,
right? And yeah,
and then
like,
Bryce Young maybe looks better, and we're like,
play.
oh, okay, he does have talent. Oh, okay, maybe he can be a starter. You know, I think that's in the cards, but I can't bet on it, so I end up with 2-15.
No.
So
especially with as bad as he looked sometimes, like even regardless of coaching, there were few minutes I've watched of Panthers games last year, there were times where I was just like, that guy was picked first.
Yeah, so this is basically them going like, oh, never mind, and then they maybe pick another one in the draft, but it may not be a great draft for...
They could go like full Cardinals and go, oh, never mind, Josh Rosen sucks.
Yeah,
Let's pick Kyler Murray.
Yeah, except for at least they gave him 2 years. Rosen only got the one, so...
Yeah, that's true. Rosen did.
Hey,
but Rosen was also that bad.
Yeah, that was the right decision, because where's Josh Rosen? So
I think he's third on the depth chart in
is he still?
Buffalo?
Yeah, he might still be.
I think.
Yeah.
I'm gonna Google that
all right,
too.
and then so that's your 4 and 3 or Panthers and Saints. So we have the same
Panthers
4 and 3.
or Panthers Ravens.
I just
Panthers
have the
and Saints are tied at 2-15.
Yeah, I just have the Saints winning 2 more games, but still bottom.
Still pretty bad.
Yeah, and then for Saints fans, they'll probably be happy because I'm sure that'll mean that Dennis Allen finally gets fired, and they'll be. From what I remember from seeing stuff last year, a lot of Saints fans during the draft when we did our draft podcast, and a lot of Saints fan things were, can we draft a coach? Are we allowed to do that?
Sorry, real quick. The last time Josh Rosen was seen in the NFL, he got cut from the practice squad of the Vikings.
Rough, buddy.
That's rough.
All right. Especially since the Vikings were scrambling to try and find a quarterback after Cousins got hurt. It's like, you weren't even good enough to make that squad when they were like, we don't like any of these guys. And we like you the least of the guys we don't like. That we're going to go out and get Josh Dobbs to help us.
Yeah, right.
So, that's great. I had third. I have them on a little bit of a regression because I do think losing their offensive coordinator is going to be a bigger deal. I have the Bucs at 7 and 10.
I flip-flop those wins and losses. I have them at 10 and 7.
So do you have them first, or do you have the Falcons have a better record?
They are. I do have them first.
Okay, so they're first for you. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm going to pull up their schedule right now and see how the hell I got them to 10 wins.
I mean, look, so this is, if your argument is that it's actually not as big of a drop off on their offensive coordinator side, if they have if their replacement comes in and they just sort of can build on what they did last year. I mean, they've pretty much got all the same guys. So
yeah, and like I'm looking at their schedule now, and they're like after their week 11 bye, this is exactly where I got them to 10 wins because half of them come after week 12 and beyond. I'm pretty confident because week 12, 13, and 14 they have the Giants, Panthers, Raiders. Pretty all winnable games. And then they have the Chargers and Cowboys. Winnable games, but they're probably going to lose. And then they have the Panthers and Saints in the last 2 weeks. So I have half their wins coming in their last 7 games.
Yeah. Wow. So they just kind of turn it on towards the end. Yeah.
Right. So for me, it's like you're against solid teams. You're not even a 500 teams, but against bad teams, you're good. You're fine.
Oh, all right.
That's where I got.
So what did you have the Falcons at then?
I have the Falcons tied at 10 and 7, but the Buccaneers get the tiebreaker.
Okay, so I had the Falcons winning at 9 and 8, the division,
and that wouldn't shock me. Honestly, it really wouldn't.
I mean, last year it was Falcons, Bucs, Saints all tied.
Yeah, all of them at 7 and 8 at one point.
Yeah.
It was 7 and 8 all at one point.
Yeah, so I mean, it's been it's just like one of those ones. Predicting more than 10 wins seems crazy. So for any of the teams, like 10 feels
Another
like the
good
max.
Another good stat I heard earlier today. If the AFC South winner has fewer than 10 wins, that'll be the first time in history that a division winner has fewer than 10 wins in 3 consecutive years. So the NFC South could make history if their division winner only wins 9 games.
Yeah. Hey, that's great. That's
good job, NFC South. You can do it.
Yeah.
But I feel like the Falcons and or Bucks, well, I have it on here that they'll each win 10 games.
Yeah. That'd be pretty good for them, though, if they had 2 teams with that.
Yeah,
that'd be a good improvement for the South. That's for sure.
Poor NFC South.
Yeah. All right, and then we are on to the West.
I have the Niners up. Do you want to go top or bottom?
No, I like doing bottom. I like doing bottom and.
Oh, okay. I have the Seahawks, I have the Cardinals at the bottom at 2-15.
Wow.
I still think that team is in such disarray.
Wow.
I don't care if Kyler's coming back. I'm sorry, I don't care.
Wow.
That team is such a freaking mess.
Wow.
Because of what Cliff Kingsbury left behind. I don't think they're very good.
I don't think so. I think their defense is not good. I think their offense is going to be pretty solid, pretty good. Actually, maybe very good. And I think they've got a good defensive head coach who can help that defense in
Who is
year
their head
2.
coach now?
It's the former Eagles defensive coordinator from when they went to the Super Bowl.
Oh, Rich Gannon. That's right.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Jonathan Gannon. Rich Gannon's the quarterback.
Jonathan Gannon, not
Jonathan
Rich
Gannon, yeah.
Yeah.
And they were better last year than I expected. They were way more competitive.
That's true. They were frisky last year.
Not that they had a good record, but they were just way more competitive than in those games. So
yeah, they beat the Cowboys.
I'm going to get to them. I'll get to them. My bottom is the Seahawks at 4-13.
4-13. I had them at 7-10.
So this is tough because they do have some good talent. I do not believe in Geno Smith. I don't either. And I won't lie, I didn't even feel great about giving them 7 points. Yeah. Now he's got good receivers to throw to, but there's still questions with the offensive line. He's terrible when that breaks down. All quarterbacks are bad when your line breaks down, but like he seems especially terrible. I think it was he actually feels like one where it was like one fluke decent year.
I think he is, because even last year he wasn't great, and everybody was still, even like, I feel like I was banging my head into a wall at one point and people still believing in the Seahawks because they kept going, well, they still have Geno, and I was just like, he had one good year.
His entire career is
and he was 32 when he had that.
Yeah, and it wasn't even like amazing. It was just
amazing. He was really good in one half, and then he was really like average at best in the second half. It was just his first half was so good.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, "Oh, Geno's a Pro Bowl quarterback now." Yeah. No, he's not.
No, he was just better. He was just better than what we all expected, which is good for him. And they went
from what we had seen over the course of the decade previous.
And they went to the playoffs that year too, so I get it. But I'm just like, there's nothing else. And last year didn't help shake that. I mean, we'll see. Now of course people are hoping that having their new coach and stuff will boost up the defense. But we'll see. Defensive coaches taking over teams, it worked for DeMeco Ryans jumping in last year.
Right,
and stuff.
right.
But there's not always.
Yeah, but DeMeco Ryans has C.J. Stroud, not Geno Smith.
It's not always difference. What you think it's going to be. Because what if it's more of a Staley situation?
Right. Staley's a defensive guy.
Yeah, so who knows? It's just 4-13 feels low. I will say that. It feels low. But I still think if I had to put my money on who's last in the division, I would still put it on the Seahawks if it were me. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Even if they ended up at 6 wins or something like that.
Right. Them and the Cardinals tied at 6-11.
Well, we're gonna get to that.
What the hell do you have the Cardinals at?
Who do you have third?
I have the Seahawks third at 7-10.
Of course you do. That makes sense. I have the Rams third.
Oh no.
At 10-7.
I'm sorry. Can we just pause real quick? Do you really have the Cardinals winning at least 10 games?
I have them tied with the Cardinals at 10-7.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's what happened. So that happened when I went through my things.
So guys, Brothers Blitz has a shelf life, and it's ending right now.
I think their offense is going to be really, really good. I think the defense is still going to be terrible, but better than what it was last year.
Are you talking about the Rams or the Cardinals?
The Cardinals.
Okay.
And so, I
That's where I can't get on board with the Cardinals. Even if 2-15 seems like a stretch, I think people underestimate how much it affects you when your defense is that bad. Because like you can overcome a mediocre to slightly bad defense, but I also just don't think the Cardinals offense is that good to overcome that. Like minus Kyler, who do they have? They don't have Hopkins anymore. You got a really old Zach Ertz?
No, because they're tight end. They've got no, he's going to probably be really good this year because he was looking really good to the second half.
Who the hell are their wide receivers?
Trent McBride. Well, obviously you got Marvin Harrison. The other wide receivers side
right,
can be a little hard.
They drafted that guy. Oh, right, that does help.
Yeah. But their tight end McBride, he was looking really good once he was like one of the top tight ends the last half of the year, especially when Kyler came in. So if that continues,
do forget Kyler did come in and play really well down the stretch.
So yeah, I just think 10 does seem. I mean, look, it's the same thing with the Seahawks, where the Seahawks feels a little low. 10 feels a little high for the Cardinals, but that's where I ended up when I did my picks, and so that's just where I am.
Oh man, I'm just like, I don't see it.
I see.
All.
I have them. So here's the 10. just in case you're curious. So
I am curious. Who do you have them beating?
That's I have them really beating curious. The Rams while they're at home. I have them beating the Commanders at home. I do have them going. I do have a surprise win where they go to the Packers and beat them. So that's a surprise.
Sorry. They're not winning that game.
Well, surprise wins happen. All right.
They do. They do. So, I just don't think they're winning that game.
I have them winning against the Bears when they're at home again.
That I can see. Yeah, I can see that.
I have them.
I have the Bears winning that game.
Coming off their bye, they go to Seattle, so I have them winning that game. I actually have them beating the Seahawks both times. Guys, I think it's helpful for them that they're going to Seattle off the bye, and then they still get Seattle at home 2 weeks later, and they just beat them again. I have them beating the Patriots, even though the Patriots are coming off their bye. I think that's going to matter less.
I don't think that'll matter. The Patriots are so bad.
Oh, so this is what happened. I have them going on a run at the end. I have them going on a 5.
Oh, like against the Vikings, Seahawks, Panthers?
No, I don't. I even have the Vikings beating them, which is crazy. But I have a 5-0 run. They go 5-0 down the stretch. They beat the Seahawks, Patriots, Panthers. Those are not. That's could definitely happen. Those three. They could definitely.
That's true. Those three could definitely happen.
And then I have them sweeping the Rams and then splitting with the Niners and beating the Niners the final week.
Wow.
Yeah, so they go on a 5-0 run. So that's how that got there. So if you wanted to argue that, okay, they're not going to beat the Niners the last week or maybe even the Rams, now suddenly, they're
I think they're getting swept by both teams. Actually, I take that back. I think they get swept by the entire NFC West.
Wow. I do not have that at all. I have the Seahawks swept in the NFC West, but all right. So I have them. Yeah. So I have the Rams and Cardinals tied at 10-7. What did you have the Rams at?
I had the Rams at 10-7.
You have them so we have that the same.
Yeah.
And that makes sense. And then what did you have the Niners?
11-6 actually.
11-6. Oh, okay. Yeah. A little bit better.
There was definitely. Yeah, I think 10-7, 11-6 range is great. I mean, provided that was one of those same thing with the Bengals and Joe Burrow. If Stafford goes down, they're fucked.
Yeah.
Unequivocally fucked.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that changes the whole trajectory. I feel like it's somehow not talked enough about how Aaron Donald retired.
Agreed. That's a huge thing, too.
Yeah, there's no replacement. So, I mean, that's why it's like some people think they're going to be like a good amount better, but I kept them at 10-7 because I was just like,
Yeah, and I've heard some things are like, well, we drafted some replacements. You can't replace a Hall of Famer, especially one like Aaron Donald.
Yeah,
that's not possible.
No, what you're hoping for is that a number of guys step up, and it turns out decent, but that's a lot to hope for because one person's not coming in.
Dominant this dude was.
There's no defensive. Yeah, there's no defensive tackle. I feel pretty confident saying there's no defensive tackle in the NFL that you're coming in and going, oh, that's a replacement for Aaron Donald.
Yeah, no, not for Aaron Donald.
You can go, oh, that's a pretty good.
He's a pretty good substitute for that.
Yeah, and then if somebody else on the defensive line can get better, then maybe those two people together
combined, right.
That's what you're hoping.
They can be replacements overall.
Yeah, you're hoping for 2 or 3 guys to replace Aaron Donald, is basically, and that's hard. So,
and because it's like it's something else that people don't factor in is like Aaron Donald commanded so many double and triple teams, which freed up other parts of the defensive line for them to get pressure. When you have those substitute guys, not replacements, you can single team them and still win. And win those one-on-one battles, which I don't think some people are taking into account when it comes to the Rams defense.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe even my own 11-6 with the Rams is a little overzealous.
But if the offense gets even better than what it was last year, that could also make up for the defensive end.
I do know Puka's already banged up.
And you never know with Cooper Kupp, is he going to be able to stay healthy?
Right. And same thing with Stafford.
There's some weird, it's definitely one of those volatile teams where it's like things could go wrong, and if they go wrong, it's usually injury, which
could be a 10
sucks.
or 11-win team or a 3-win team.
But then suddenly it's an awful, it's just atrocious. So because just the wrong guys get hurt. I mean, and of course there's truth for that for every team to a sense, but you also have teams like the Browns who went through so many quarterbacks and made the playoffs. So, because their team infrastructure was enough to do that versus like the Rams, you're like, I don't think you have enough other talent.
Well, even the Bengals, even the Bengals after Burrow went down were still like almost a playoff team with Jake Browning at quarterback.
Yeah, but you feel like if the Rams lose Stafford, you're like, even with Sean McVay being as good as he is, it's just like,
right.
So what'd you have?
We saw what happened. We saw what happened that year. Stafford did go down.
Yeah.
And they had that revolving door of quarterbacks.
It's rough. What'd you have the Niners at?
I had them at 12-5.
That's what I did too. Yeah.
Especially with like all the offseason shit they've already been through.
Yeah.
McCaffrey's already a little bit banged up. I still think their talent is just too good. And even though their schedule is really tough, Shanahan's still just such a good coach.
Yeah.
Despite what some people say, like that guy still gets it done, even if he fucks up in the Super Bowl over and over again.
Yeah, he's got to really rethink some stuff there. But right, yeah, it's just like it's so hard to.
It's hard to bet against him at this point, especially regular season wise.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned, even with the Cowboys earlier, like despite all the distractions, they keep winning 12 games during the regular season. It's just hard to bet against that when it's been that consistent.
So where did we end up seating wise here? So I
have the Lions out. Go ahead.
My 7th seed is the Rams at
my 7.
Yeah.
My 7 is the Packers.
That makes sense. Packers 7th. Your 7th seed's an 11-6 team. Yeah, that's pretty good.
It is.
My 6th seed is the Cardinals.
Oh my God, you're insane.
Yeah. Who's your 6th seed?
My 6 is the Eagles at 11-6.
Eagles. Okay. The Eagles are 6. All right. Who's your 5th seed?
Rams.
Okay. I have my 5th seed is the Lions. Yeah.
Wow, you have the Lions all the way down at 5.
Well, they have to because I had the Bears win the division, even though it was by 1 game.
Oh, right, you psychopath.
Well, it's super close, though, because it's only a 1-game difference between the 5th seed and the 1 and 2 seed that I have. So,
I mean, that's fair.
It's one of those. Like, it's not like
the Lions at 13-4 as the 1 seed, and the Packers are 7 at 11-6. So
right. So it's really not that crazy. It's just that I have it being that tight. I feel like. So wait, hold on. So I have your 5th. So who's your? I already said my 5th. Right, was Lions. Yeah. So who's your 4th? So I guess it's
the Bucks because they win
right?
the NFC South.
Mine too. So yeah. Except for mine's the Falcons. Mine's the Falcons. But like, yeah. But it's the same thing. The NFC South winners the fourth. You can. That's like a pencil in thing. You get to do.
It's just like automatic.
Yeah.
4 seed is automatically NFC South.
Yeah, you just pencil that in every year, pretty much now. My third seed is the Cowboys.
Mine too.
Hey, all right.
Different record, but same seed. Yeah. Because you had them at 11-6, right?
Wait, what's your Cowboys record? 11-6?
12-5.
Oh, 12-5. Okay, I wrote that wrong. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I have them at 10-7. So having a struggle.
Oh, okay, but still
but
yeah.
winning. I mean, like you could talk me into 12-5 pretty easily, but like
yeah.
Like I said, I was definitely,
you could talk me into like 10-7.
I definitely had a bias, and I was too low on the East at first, so I had to go back, to rework it, and it made much more.
Yeah, I'm really only biased towards, or biased against the Eagles. I hate that team.
Yeah, and then you said your second is 49ers. Then is that it?
My second is the Niners at 12-5. Yeah.
Yeah, they're my second, only because the Bears. I had the Bears beating them in the regular season.
You have the Bears as your number one seed?
Quarterbacks like Caleb Williams give, but yeah, I do. The Bears are the number one seed. Pencil it in, folks. Pencil it in. But yeah, because
I need somebody to turn a TikTok camera on.
Because I had the Bears beating the Niners. It just feels like a quarterback like Caleb Williams is just like sometimes the Niners. I don't know. They just freak out.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
On the tiebreaker side, because even though the 49ers have a better division record, but yeah, the head-to-head matchup they lost. Yep. So Bears number one, Jets number one. That's right.
Just what is happening in the world?
Okay, well, it's going to be a crazy year, obviously. So let's get here. Let's go and do the wild card round. Here we go.
Who do you have? What do you have? The Kansas City Royals beating the Seattle Kraken or something?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So we've got the 5-4, but for me is the Lions against the Falcons, and I have the Lions beating the Falcons.
Wow, we're completely different. I have Rams-Bucks with the Bucks winning.
Okay, wow. All right. I think I'd pick Rams.
I went back and forth on that one, but I don't know. Something about Baker Mayfield and having that he needs that chip on his shoulder, and I think he would get it done at home.
Okay,
I wouldn't be surprised if they lost.
Sure, I mean, it is at home. That does help. That definitely helps.
Yeah.
Then my 6 and 3 are the Cardinals against the Cowboys, and I have the Cowboys winning that.
Well, we have the Cowboys winning. I had Eagles Cowboys, but Cowboys winning.
Yeah. And then Sirianni's out. Got it. Makes sense.
Agreed. Yep. Exactly how I think that goes down.
And then my 7 and 2 are the Rams against the Niners, and I think the Rams lose for the third time in the year against the Niners.
I had Packers. I had Packers Niners, and I think the Niners win again. That would be so good.
Oh yeah, that would be good. That would be good. Okay, and then so now into the divisional round. So I had what everybody would be excited for, Cowboys against the 49ers.
I have the same, and I have the 49ers winning again.
I do too. That's so sad. And then I have the Lions against the Bears, and I have the Lions winning. So I have the Lions beating the number 1 seed. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we got Niners, Lions again.
Okay, so you have the Lions. So who do you have the Lions beating then?
Who did I have the Lions beating? Hold on. I skipped over that.
Because you said
I have the Lions beating the Bucks again.
The Bucks. Oh, wow. Okay, yeah. Well, except for I guess the Cowboys are the new ones for us into the divisional round since the Cowboys didn't make it to that point last year. So, but I have 2 teams. So I have the Cowboys and the Bears in the divisional round. And then
we both have the Niners and Cowboys meeting in the
Wait, so conference? We have Lions. So we both have Lions. Lions,
49ers.
except for I guess flip flop on the home field then, right? Because you have the Lions as the number 1 seed.
I have the Lions at home.
I have the Niners at home. Interesting. It's tough, man.
Bias part of me, so I have two solutions. Bias part of me picks the 49ers.
Yeah.
Unbiased part picks the Lions.
Well, I picked the Lions.
Over the 49ers.
Yeah,
I think I have to.
I was 100% the same. I was like, ugh.
As much as I hate it, I was like, I gotta pick the Lions here.
Yeah.
Like, you get revenge on it. You're at home to go to your first
for you
Super Bowl.
Too, they're at home. Like, for me, it is away. But
I wouldn't see them losing that game.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was tough. Because I was like, am I throwing too much of my own bias, right? If I want to pick the Niners, and it's just like, it is hard. It is so hard to go back after winning, it's hard, but after losing, the history is not good. The history is really against those teams getting back to the Super Bowl. Do I think they're good enough to? Yes. I mean, of course, we still have them in the championship game, so it's not like, we're...
I mean, the Bills literally did it 3 years in a row, lost, and got back to it.
Yeah, so it could happen. It's just historically not super common. So, I just sort of decided the same, that the Lions don't mess it up this time. I think they're a little bit better than even what they were last year. If they didn't keep Ben Johnson, this would have been a totally different prediction for me.
Agreed. Agreed.
The Lions,
that to me, once everybody found out that Ben Johnson was staying, I was like, oh, Lions are going to be pretty much, they're good. They're set.
Yeah.
They're going to be just as good as they were last year. Literally everybody's coming back.
Yeah.
And now they have this playoff experience under their belt.
Yep. And
that's why I have them as number one in the NFC. That all of that combined for me is like, they're now set to make that run.
Yeah. I think that
as much as they've ever been anyways.
That we're worried about a little bit. And that's why I have them at 11-6. They just have a couple of extra losses that weren't expecting, but they get it all together. And they, it comes to playoff time, and they're focused and ready. And
that's fair.
So our Super Bowls, yours is
mine is Texans-Lions.
Texans-Lions. I don't know how that's going to go for the ratings.
Oh man, I do it, which is a whole nother notion, but that's a whole other thing we could talk about. But I hate that, like, if it's not two super wildly popular teams, it's not going to be a good game, because
that's not true. But I just mean, like, as far as
it's just not true.
As far as people watching is the only thing.
I think people don't watch because they're of that narrative of like, these aren't two wildly popular teams. It's not going to be a good game.
Yeah.
I hate that shit.
But I, of course, have what most people are predicting, which is Jets-Lions.
Jets-Lions, yeah, totally.
All right, Super Bowl winners.
Jets-Bears.
Who better start celebrating now? We were almost right last year. We both picked the Niners to win.
We both had Niners-Chiefs, didn't we?
No, I think we had Niners-Bengals, didn't we? But Burrow got hurt.
Oh, yeah, we did.
Which was an unreasonable prediction at the time.
No, it wasn't.
Especially considering how the Bengals looked even without Burrow. You're like, Burrow was there. Yeah, this might have been right. But anyway, it was hard to predict that, of course. So, I think the Lions are going to get their first Super Bowl.
I picked the Lions over the Texans as well.
Jared Goff.
Yeah.
Jared Goff.
I think Jared Goff finally gets that elusive Super Bowl. Yep.
I can't believe we're picking Jared Goff.
You're
to
picking
win
Jared
a Super
Goff
Bowl.
and the Lions.
What's wrong with us? And I have them beating the Jets?
I have them beating the Texans.
That feels more likely to me in some ways. Even though I have the Texans missing the playoffs, so that's pretty silly for me to say, but...
Yeah. Maybe we should both get a doctor in here to examine our brains.
Jared Goff. God,
CJ Stroud for the Super Bowl.
Wow. Beats Aaron Rodgers.
For you, yeah. That would be wild, too. Jared Goff beats Aaron Rodgers, like denies him a second Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That would be hilarious.
That would be pretty funny. Of course, my other scenario I would love is Rodgers finally not having to deal with the 49ers. He plays the 49ers in the Super Bowl and loses. And it's like, God damn it! If it wasn't for the 49ers.
I actually thought about that too.
Yeah,
like, how hilarious would that be if, like, Rodgers' legacy comes down to he could do everything except beat the 49ers.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it.
Yeah. But of course, as we all know,
even when he switched conferences and got to the Super Bowl, he played the 49ers and lost to them there too.
Yeah. So I think that would be hilarious. I'm sure this just means that the Chiefs are going to three-peat, and everybody who's not a Chiefs fan is just going to be sad.
Yeah.
Be like, all right, whatever. I guess this is just our life now that we all have to deal with. Why do we watch anymore?
So I was like, I'll never forget that conversation with a Chiefs fan at Buffalo Wild Wings. I just don't want us to be seen as like the Patriots. I don't want people to hate us that much. Brother, you there.
It doesn't matter. Once you start winning that much, you just got to embrace that. You got to go, yep.
Yeah, just embrace the fact that everybody hates you.
You got it. I mean, now that's easier
because
for
they want to be you.
And
as much as they say they don't, they would love to be you.
And that's a lot easier for Boston fans than Kansas City fans, I guess, because Boston's like, yeah, hate us. Yeah. Whatever. Right. Yeah, they're used to that.
Like at one point, Boston just kept winning championships. So it was like, yeah, hate us. We don't care.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
we keep winning in all of our sports.
They pretty much everybody was winning for a little bit there. But Kansas City's not used to that.
No, right.
For the most part. So.
But hey, the Royals are good. They're the top wild card spot right now. That's crazy.
But now with the Chiefs being so consistent, now they're kind of getting that, and they just. Probably as a fan base don't quite know how to deal with it. Because people hate
when you
us?
Win as much as you do, people hate you.
Yeah, they're like, we don't understand. We've never been hated before.
Right.
People don't usually like coming here unless they want barbecue. Kind of considered a flyover state. So
kind of flyover city even.
Yeah. So. But anyway, that's crazy. So we both have two different Super Bowl teams than from last year.
Yeah, we do.
Did you? What did you end up with different playoff teams for the NFC?
For the NFC, I think everybody was the same. I think.
See, that's not looking good for you. That's just
no, it's not. It's really not.
That doesn't look good. That doesn't.
Yeah, I literally have the same playoff teams as last year.
And
that's
you only
probably
had
not
one
good.
different on the AFC side. I mean, again, technically it's possible, obviously. It's just historically it doesn't generally happen. So, so my new ones are the Bears, the Cardinals, and the Falcons. So it's three. I have three for both. Three new for each one.
I don't know where you're pulling that Cardinals and Bears shit out of your asshole, but
I don't think the Bears are that crazy. The Cardinals, sure. The Bears, I don't think
the Bears wouldn't be. The Bears aren't that crazy because their schedule is pretty easy. Again, like I mentioned earlier, I'm just going off past history. They're the Bears. They're fine. They find new ways to fuck it up.
I just think it's different. I think Caleb Williams is a different cat. You know,
man, I hope he is. Like, I really do hope he is.
It's like
for me, it's like I don't know why it is.
Think about the history of the Bengals before Burrow. I think Caleb Williams has that ability. He has that possible impact that is just like you just now look at the franchise differently. Because
Carson Palmer was supposed to have that for the Bengals. Then he got hurt.
Yeah. Then he got hurt, and he was good. I mean, like he was
really good. And then after he tore his ACL, he was never the same until he got to Arizona.
Yeah. Because that Raiders stint was not good for him. But
that's because the Raiders are trash.
So I think he's coming into a better situation than what Burrow walked into in Cincinnati. So even if you don't think he's as good as Burrow, I think he's walking into a better situation than what Burrow had to walk into because they had the first pick of the draft because they had the Panthers pick. It wasn't because they were so bad, right? You know,
that's true. That is very true.
So that's where I am. I mean, I'm totally fine. Like, if people are putting the Lions above them, I know picking them as. I mean, again, they end up as a 1 seed, but they end up as a 1 seed as 12-5 for me. So it's not like I was like. Saying that they're going 14-3 or something, and they're going on some massive run. It's just, and they were only 1 win difference with the Lions, and they were tied with the Niners. So, if you wanted, I'll say I would be surprised if they don't have at least a winning record. If they don't have a winning record, I'm going to be surprised.
It wouldn't surprise me if they ended up at like 9-8, but
if they don't have a winning record, I think they need to get rid of Matt Eberflus because this team has enough talent and showed enough last year that they, with the Caleb Williams and the wide receiver additions and the running back, just everything they've been able to add on to for this year, that means that you don't have the right coach at that point.
Yeah,
now, even if we
fair.
saved his
fair.
job with how they played down the stretch last year.
That is true.
So the question is,
and now he's got even more pieces in place.
So that's my big Bears argument there.
Okay, that's fair. Okay.
Again, if people want to argue the 12-5 is crazy, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm there for that. I get it.
No, I won't argue. That is crazy.
Yeah. But I do have them losing and not even winning their playoff game because I think it just ends up being a little too much.
That's fair.
And like I said, I think the Lions get it together. And I think similar actually with, I think that loss. I think their loss to the Niners, at least partially during the season, gives them a bit of a hangover.
The Lions lost during the season.
Yeah. And then I think they just pick it up and they get it back. But I just I think it gives them a little bit of a hangover, which is why I have them at 11-6 on the year. It's I just think there's a couple games that they end up losing. I wouldn't be surprised
if it was the opposite, where they're riding real high and then they beat the 49ers. And then they get hung over a little bit after that and then get it together.
Oh, that too. Yeah, sure. It could be something like that too. But anyway, yeah, because we've seen that happen before.
See how it all shakes out.
That's how it's going to go this year, folks. At least,
Texans, Lions in the Super Bowl.
But we
heard it here first.
We may differ on that, but we know that the Lions are winning because we both picked
Lions are going to be Super Bowl champs.
That's how could we be wrong? They've never done it before, so why not now?
We both did not pick the 49ers to win last year.
Yeah. Hey,
that would be insane.
We were close, though. I don't want to think about it too much, but we were close.
No, I don't either, because it'll just make me upset. But
so it's not like it was a bad pick. That's all I'm saying. It was not a bad pick.
No, it was not. No,
you're right. We were right there. We were right there. And yeah. So thanks everybody for listening. So we'll obviously as the year goes on, we'll be doing our reactions for the week and things like that. So we'll keep tuning in, subscribing, following all of the stuff. We're on YouTube and Spotify.
And maybe like halfway through the year, see how our predictions could shake out or are shaking out thus far.
Yeah, thus far. Thus far. But I mean, if we start doing weekly predictions, I'm not going to go back to what I predict before. I'm just going to go by on the season.
I just mean maybe as an update.
Yeah, of course.
Week 9,
curious,
week 10.
Where are we? Yeah. Where are we from what we had last year? So, yeah, but thanks everybody for tuning in. Comment, share us around, all the fun stuff here.
You feel free to tell Jordan he's a psychopath, but
yeah, that's fine. Or if you need to send, if you need a medical checkup, send that to my home. Feel free. Yeah.
Yeah, but anyways, but hey, cheers to the 2024 season.
That's
Let's
right.
Go.
We are. It is here, everybody.
It is here.
We are excited, and it should be a good one. Have a terrific NFL Week 1, everybody.
Peace.
Bye.